Huh?
They're live. It's live now.
Welcome to the Freak Show.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Comes from China.
Oh, no. Everybody was kung fu fighting. That shit spread fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening as the numbers kept on climbing. Oh, funky Chinaman from funky Chinatown. They stayed together. They tried to put it down. When diseases get their start, from the swine to the SARS, tried to call it just a slip, but I blame the flat back strip. Everybody was kung fu fighting. That shit spread fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening.
Yeah.
As the numbers kept on climbing. There was Leo and Liang trying to get the whistle blown. He said, here comes the virus, and now he's gone home. They forced the quarantine to contain COVID-19. It was probably too late to stop the spread of Chinese disease. Everybody was kung fu fighting. That shit spread fast as lightning. In fact, my temperature rising, and I think my chest is tightening. Oh, no.
Say the term again. Kung Fu comes from China.
So we want to be very transparent. So as you know, I declassified everything.
Okay, guys, show us what you got.
Hey, Angie, UK Neil.
Hey, Fritzy.
Thank you very
Hey,
much.
Tiger.
Broome County is just visibly upset by this display. Come on down and get places for the home games. Bring the kids. We got entertainment for the whole family.
Oh, Twitter. Twatter.
Twitter twatter.
Stop it, please, I beg you!
So we want to be very.
You dirty rat, Twitter. Why do you do this to me? Why do you hate me so? Oh, you dirty rat. I lost them all. I think I lost the whole show. Yeah, I did.
Did mine's still going?
No.
Did we really?
Yeah, I lost. Well, no, I lost everything I brought up for the show today.
Oh no! Are you kidding me?
No, not kidding.
Bless your heart. Oh, Phil, I'm so sorry.
Hold on. Maybe I can get it back. I don't know.
We don't have green screen.
I just turned the video off. Oh boy. Reopen closed window. Oh, I got it back. Boy, I'm a genius. I got it back. We'll play one more video because we told them we'd have a pre-show warm-up until I screwed it up. We'll play a short one here. All right, let me get the video back up. Technical difficulties. Yay. It's always the Twitter videos that do it.
Hot damn, we're gonna.
UK Neil. Iceman. And here we are. It's Saturday night. Welcome back, everybody. Nice to see you. I see Brian, 71976, UK Neil, Iceman, Angie. Who else? Who do you see there, Doc?
Rusty, Tigress, Rusty. We said him already. Hi, y'all. Welcome to another weekend of quarantining. So how's everybody faring under these difficult circumstances of being quarantined with your family members of whom you probably have not visited in many years? Are you thinking they're nice people? Have you seen them lately? Do they seem familiar to you? How about you, Yank?
Up here in New York, a lot of people in this area are nervous because people from downstate are coming up here to run from the coronavirus. So, yeah. But there is hope. I've seen some videos out there today that show hospitals are not being overrun in New York City, Brooklyn. So we'll see. We're hoping for the best up here.
I saw one by Todd Starnes today where he went through and there didn't seem to be any epidemic that going on that I could see, or pandemic. There was also another one where some girls went through the whole hospital, and there was nobody there. I mean, literally hardly nobody there. Even in their respiratory therapy area, nobody there. It was the strangest thing I've ever seen. It makes you wonder. You don't really know what to think. But I know that DeSantis in Florida has been very upset about all the New Yorkers that have fled there over the last many weeks, asking them to stay home. And then, POTUS was saying that he was mulling over targeted areas of asking them not to leave the state. New York, New Jersey, and I can't remember, there was a third one. I can't remember what it was. Because, so many people are trying to flee the states. So I think that you got to be really, really, really careful. But I was talking more about the people in your house. A lot of people are probably seeing their families for the first time in a long time because of the quarantine.
I haven't been. I've been working all kinds of hours. I've been getting up at 5 still and getting out and early, very early, and working, trying to get in as many machines as I can while I'm only working one job. Yeah. So I'm really working 2 jobs still, a lot of hours.
Still just they're all at one place.
Right. So I'm still working. So I can work, apparently. I can stay open because I'm by myself and I pick up and deliver, so I don't have to really worry about that. But I will say the hospitals here were flooded in the first couple of weeks. I haven't heard anything recently. I have a relative that works in one of the hospitals. They were hit hard, but we only have 15 cases in the entire county. So a lot of that was brought on by the media. Everybody who had a fever ran to the hospital. Everybody felt sick, ran to the hospital. We're still in the flu season. We're up north. I mean, it's still cold here. The flu's still going on. It probably goes on for another month or so before we see the end of the flu season. And now that the snow is gone and we're getting some sunny days and it gets warm in the middle of the day, allergy season is starting to pop now. So a lot of people were running in there thinking they had the Wuhan flu when they really didn't. They had the regular flu that we go through every year.
Well, they're saying even if you think you've got it, to call your doctor,
right? Because
they don't want you to come in if you've got it and spread it. Unless there is breathing distress, they're pretty much telling you to stay home. So
they're telling you to stay home, getting people to stay home and not run to the hospital. They're two different things.
Exactly. Yes.
So
most of them don't even check.
I haven't heard anything.
They require you to call the doctor.
I haven't heard anything distressful from this from this relative, so I would imagine that it's calmed down. Like run for the hills or go get food now or anything like that since then. So I would guess that it has calmed down somewhat. So we'll see.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see because, we had discussed, I think a couple of weeks ago, when Tucker had first broke about the drug combo that we were so hopeful for, and it's looking like it's coming to fruition. I did not get a chance to see if there was any news come out today because they should have finished the 5 days testing, and we should be getting some data, even though there's been data come in from all over the world. And this, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, Phil, remember when he put that out, we covered the fact that POTUS has been seeing the information on this drug from all of the countries that have already been using it. And there's a lot of them, and they've all had great success with it. And as we had discussed, originally the first study was a controlled study of 41 people, and all 41 were cured. And they don't usually use that terminology in conjunction with a virus because you usually treat a virus, you can't really cure it. It's not a bacterial infection that you can give an antibiotic for. So a lot of people were kind of confused by that. And I think and did not really see the significance that it was cured. Or our good friend James has also been covering it, I believe, on some of his shows. And as he said, they were symptomless. It wasn't like, oh, gee, we're a little better. It was that there was no live virus found after 5 days. So I was very, very, very hopeful that this was going to be good news today, because quite frankly, the way POTUS has been talking and acting, I think he's known that this was our silver bullet for quite some time. So I think he knows what the deep state's trying to do with this. I think all the Dems and the left-wing libnut media is frothing at the mouth, trying to get every last juice out of this virus that they can get, because they know this isn't working, and they know people are onto this, that there is something afoot, something is amiss. So I'm really excited to see what kind of news is going to be coming out over the next few days. Aren't you?
Yeah, we'll have to see. The media is the problem right now, and other shows out there that are just focusing on, oh no, we got 100 more sick people. Oh no, 2 people died here. Oh, 1,000 sick. They're running the fear porn campaign. They don't talk about the people that have recovered. They're not talking about the drugs that are working. They aren't talking about the ships that are being sent out, the items being sent out. No, just POTUS is a dumbass. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't believe in science. He's a retard. I've heard all kinds of garbage out there. Well, guess what? The New York Times, the same people that are sourcing the New York Times and other rags out there with fake news. New York Times ran a story with a doctor in a New York City hospital, which ended up being completely false. That doctor has been fired. I just heard that today on the Joe Pag show. She was fired. Also, the media ran out there and said, made a big deal about how Trump said the ventilators are sitting in a warehouse in New Jersey. Cuomo denied it, called it misinformation, and then said, we're holding back the ventilators until the hospital needs them. Well, where's he holding them? In his living room? I mean, he said we have thousands of ventilators that we're holding back. So where's he holding them? That's the point. So he lied. He flat out lied, and nobody in the media questioned it. And everybody's saying Trump is an idiot. He's lying again.
But they said it so snarky. They have showed their, but they have showed their behind every day in those press briefings. And POTUS looks like the calm, cool, collected one who is trying to work with them, and they keep showing their fangs. And I think that's been great, because I think America needs to see their ass bright and shiny for everybody to see, because They need to remember that the media is the arm of the Democrat Party, and they are, both of them, rooting for America's demise. They are the ones that were willing to forego your interests in lieu of their own. They wanted power. They didn't care what it cost you if that stimulus would help your family. They didn't really care. They just cared about getting their way so they could have more power. And everybody needs to remember that. And there is some Moscow in our chat. Honey, if you are not on the side that's winning, the conservative side, the side that has the wonderful leader, you need to really rethink that, darling, because I'm going to tell you something. You picked the wrong side. We are being led by a true leader in extraordinary times. And if you do not see that there is something not jiving with all of their numbers and their scenarios and their narratives, then you're really not paying attention. So stick around, and I hope that you open your eyes truly to what's said here tonight, because we're going to cover a lot of great things that America is accomplishing and winning every day under our great leader. So I hate to get the show on the road, but I know I sent you a whole bunch of stuff. Some of it's fun because I felt like we needed a little gaiety, and some of it is very interesting. And one of the things, well, I don't want to step on the story, so you just lead the way.
Well, Rusty brought up one point before we move on, is that Cuomo said he's been asking for ventilators, not getting them. And then in the same breath, he says he has the ventilators and he's holding them back from the hospitals until they need them. So which is it? He doesn't have the ventilators, or he has them and he's holding them back?
They were caught red-handed, stashed. They found them. They had them in a warehouse. And if you didn't already notice, all the companies that and institutions and associations, all this, they're all of a sudden finding all of these medical supplies like the N95 masks that they've been needing. That's because Barr came out last week and said, if we catch you hoarding these things or stockpiling them or trying to price gouge with them, we're coming for you. And then all of a sudden, everybody started finding all this stuff. That was not a coincidence.
Guess who one
they
of
just didn't want Barr breathing down their neck.
Guess which one of the scumbag units or groups out there found millions of N93 masks? SEIU. No freaking surprise. They found millions upon millions of masks. Oh, we didn't know we had them. Bullshit. They knew. Right. They knew they had them. They were holding them back.
They just didn't want to face getting charges brought up with Barr knocking on their door.
Yep.
So I was glad to see that Barr's gotten everybody's attention. That's good. They need to be paying attention because he is going to be stealth like a snake. I saw a picture they put out because, in Texas, we're starting to get warm. Well, that brings all the snakes out. And somebody had their doggy door open, and a copperhead had slithered through the doggy door on their carpet, and it matched their carpet exactly. I was going, oh, dear God, I would faint.
Hillbilly Bones says,
they better keep on because he's going to bite him in the butt.
Hillbilly Bones in the chat says, sounds like the same shit the Democrats pulled in Puerto Rico. Exactly. It's exactly the same stuff. They're trying to pull the same crap.
And they're the loudest. Remember how screechy that Puerto Rican mayor or whatever she was, the one that's going to prison?
Yes, a lot of them are going to jail.
She got in jail. Yeah, she's got in trouble.
They found warehouses full of food and supplies that were never handed out. How sick is that? Just to make the president look bad, people died.
And all those people, I know. Breaks your heart, doesn't it?
Just like what they're doing
God
right
doesn't
now.
Like ugly, and you can try to hide it, but it doesn't stay hid for long. I'm just saying.
You're hearing story after story being debunked, but some of these disgusting rags out there never come back and say, oh, that doctor in New York City that said they were completely out of supplies lied and was fired. Never heard that. Nope. We ran with the sensationalized story and then didn't come back and correct the story.
They don't. They conveniently forget, or they put it on page 99, where nobody's going to read it anyway.
Just like Dr. Bix now, or Birx, is now a fraud because she's telling people that 500,000 were supposed to die in the UK. That number's been revised to 20,000. That's an awful big drop in alleged deaths that would happen, or speculative deaths that would happen. How's that happen?
It doesn't. It was planned. They're being caught right and left. And that's why new mainstream media is so important, is because this is where you get the truth. Good, bad, or ugly, we're going to tell you the truth. And it's going to be something that we know has come from a trusted, reliable source, at least one, preferably 2 or 3. So you get the truth here. Keep coming back. We'll keep cussing and discussing it for you.
If you're bringing up BuzzFeed and the New York Times and the Washington Post and random liberal tweets as your sources, you're an absolute fool. How many times do they have to get caught lying with unnamed sources before you realize there's a problem there? Well, let's get going.
Mm-hmm.
We'll play something funny here.
Concrete Cowboy, you're exactly right. The mainstream media is just the other tentacle for the Democrats and the deep state cabal. We all know it, so we might as well just acknowledge
I had
it.
a dream. I drifted off thinking about happiness, birth, and new life. But now I was haunted by a vision of... He was horrible. A lone biker of the apocalypse. A man with all the powers of hell at his command. He could turn the day into night and laid to waste everything in his path. It was especially hard on the little things, the helpless and the gentle creatures. He left the scorched earth in his wake, befouling even the sweet desert breeze that whipped across his brow. I didn't know where he came from or why. I don't know if he was dream or vision, but I feared that I myself had unleashed him.
Now we're people next.
For he was the fury that would be.
Oh, that was pretty good.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, hold on. Let me get the video back up for people here. Got another video here. We'll start it out with something besides a meme here.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Navy and all Americans, we'd like to thank our wounded warriors from each of the armed services and their caregivers for defending America with pride. We'd now like to dedicate this next portion of our concert to you. This is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice, the sound of one who makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices too. The sound of me, I sing it with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices three, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love and the will to trust. Leave the rest behind and turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of one voice, one people, one voice, a song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice.
Wasn't that gorgeous? Oh, warmed my heart.
That was the
Almost made me get me something in my eye.
that was the United States Navy Band. So there you go. Let's see what's up next.
Yeah, there you go, REM. I was about to answer you, but they were Navy, weren't they?
Yep, United States Navy Band. Just the
I love
news,
that.
and I've seen this from other sources. The president's approval rating now at 55%, shows new poll, and that's why all of the mainstream media and NPR are pulling his daily coronavirus briefing. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about the mainstream media, the New York Times, CNN, MSNBC, NPR, they're all garbage. Don't watch them. And I saw a poll that shows the trust in the media is even lower than Congress right now.
Well, we all know that they are corrupt. A lot of them are CIA or ex-CIA or worse, paid off. We know what it's very plain to see their agenda. You can see, I don't even care if you are a Democrat. You should be able to see that they are not acting with honesty and integrity. And nor are they investigating and actually doing journalism. All they do is sit there and try to trip up POTUS, and it's very plain to see. So I say let them keep on showing their honey. It's all shiny right there in front of God and everybody. The whole world is watching them, because you know that people from around the world tune into those every day. So let them keep destroying themselves. We don't need to interrupt them on that point, but we do need to keep pointing it out at every turn and making sure, whether it be a text, a laugh at the right time, whatever, just planting the seed everywhere you go with all of your family and friends, letting them know this isn't right. There's something amiss. You should be watching. Because sometimes, even if they're not open for discussion, you can do some subliminal things or some opportune things to help change their mind and help them see if they aren't already. It'd be hard to miss.
New polling Friday showed President Trump's approval rating among Americans have soared during the coronavirus crisis, including his handling of the pandemic response and the economy. That's why they're taking off the daily briefing. A new
Yeah.
Axios Harris poll released Friday showed the president with a 53% overall approval rating among U.S. adults surveyed March 17th and 18th, compared to 49% among those polled March 14 and 15. So it's been going up. That's why the media is cutting him off. 56% of respondents in the latest poll said they approved of the president's handling of the coronavirus outbreak, an increase from 51% last week, and 60% of Americans this week said they approved of the president's handling of the economy, an increase from 59%. I also heard a poll that came out from Fox News, ridiculous. Joe Biden wins the presidency as it stands right now in a landslide, 9% nationwide. That's a landslide. 9% is a landslide. They've got Joe Biden winning in a landslide, so take it for what you like. But here, up next, we got the Tucker Carlson video regarding the hydrochloroquine and Z-Pack, and a lot of I think he talks about how the media is hyping it up as because two idiots drank fish tank cleaner, morons. I mean, they're the reason why we have labels on everything. That kind of person. All right?
Yes.
Here's Tucker.
They slow the spread of this pandemic, but they will not beat it. No emergency orders from our leaders can save us over time. Only medicine will stop this threat. Our only hope is science. At the moment, thousands of doctors, lab technicians, chemists, and biologists are working to create effective treatments for coronavirus. At some point, they'll likely develop a vaccine for it. That could be a year from now, though. In the meantime, researchers are taking a second look at drugs already in use for other diseases. And there have been, we're happy to tell you, some promising developments so far. Favipiravir is a Japanese antiviral drug that's been used to treat influenza, among other things. An early clinical trial in China showed improved outcomes for those with mild cases of coronavirus. Remdesivir is a drug originally created to fight Ebola. Scientists say it has shown promise too. So have lopinavir and ritonavir. Those are two HIV drugs. All of these medications are being studied right now in a major international trial. It's being overseen by the World Health Organization. Here in our country, a drug called hydroxychloroquine has received by far the most attention. Hydroxychloroquine is most commonly used as an anti-malaria medicine. You may have taken it if you traveled abroad. It's been approved for use in this country for 65 years. It is cheap. It's considered safe. A month's supply of it cost about $20. So in a lot of ways, hydroxychloroquine is the ideal medicine. If it turns out to be an effective treatment against coronavirus, things will change fast in this country. And
yet, 3 governors have blocked its use and threatened doctors with prescribing it for coronavirus patients. That'd be Michigan, Nevada, and Washington.
It's going to be hard for them to maintain that, though, after the study results come back, if they're good.
I saw one study come back.
Because they said that they were basing that off of fear that it would cause more harm.
No,
well,
it was based off the fish.
So different.
I'm fish morons.
Very sure.
The fish tank morons caused all that. Is what it is.
Well, part of it, like the Michigan woman, part of it's just spite. They don't want the narrative to change because they don't want, they want America to suffer so that we will turn from our devotion to our wonderful president. And that's not going to happen. So, the Michigan lady, she's the one that POTUS has been tweeting about, saying that she is in over her head. She's basically wanting the president to step in and do her job for her. And if he won't do that, she's going to lambaste him every chance she gets. So Michigan needs to take stock of who they're voting for. Just saying.
Louisiana, too. New Orleans.
Yes.
For the better.
That was absolutely asinine.
An effective treatment? We don't know that. Scattered reports from healthcare providers across the country, including in New York City today, suggest that it may be. It's currently being prescribed in France, where at least one study suggests that it works. In an interview yesterday, Dr. Anthony Fauci said that, quote, of course he'd be willing to try hydroxychloroquine on coronavirus patients if he were treating them directly. A patient in Florida credits the drug for his rapid turnaround. More trials are currently underway, including one in New York, the epicenter of the outbreak here. And actually, this is how science works. It works incrementally in different places at the same time, and in the end, effectively, if you let it. At the very least, we should all be following developments in hydroxychloroquine's use with interest and measured hope. Why wouldn't we be? Well, here's why. Donald Trump is for it. Several days ago, the president expressed confidence in hydroxychloroquine as a treatment for the epidemic. That was it for the media. If Trump is for it, they're against it, even if it might save American lives. What reactive children they are. And they immediately began a sustained push to discredit the drug long before the clinical results were in. CNN ran a story accusing the president of, quote, peddling unsubstantiated hope in dark times. NBC News parroted the line, blasting Trump for selling, quote, false hope.
Is it possible that your impulse to put a positive spin on things may be giving Americans a false sense of hope?
No, I don't think so.
Representing the preparedness right now.
No, I don't think so. I think that I think it's got
the not yet approved drug.
It's such a lovely question. Look, it may work and it may not work, and I agree with the doctor what he said. May work, may not work. I feel good about it.
Well, in the midst of this propaganda blitz, a man in Arizona died after eating fish tank cleaner that contained chloroquine as an ingredient, and that was it. Suddenly, the president himself had all but murdered this poor guy with some quack medical cure called chloroquine. Here was CNN's description of it.
A game changer. That is how President Trump describes the anti-malarial drug chloroquine. It's now one of 69 drugs being investigated as potential treatment against coronavirus. The problem, it has not yet been approved. And in Arizona, one man has died after an apparent attempt to self-medicate with that drug.
Whoa. He wasn't self-medicating with a drug. He was drinking fish tank cleaner.
Self-medicating with fish tank cleaner.
It wasn't a drug he was taking. It was a chemical.
Exactly. It's not in the same form. And everyone should know that anything like that is got to be administered by a physician. You can't just go around taking things just because it's got a word in a label. Oh, good gosh.
Nobody on this planet that's a doctor would prescribe chloroquine fish tank cleaner, which is different from hydrochloroquine.
I think that what's in the fish tank cleaner is not hydrochloroquine. It's hydrochloroquine phosphate, or I don't know. It's something different, but it's
not something a doctor is going to give you. A doctor is not going to give you those in pill form. Fish tank cleaner.
Hey, Phil, we do have breaking news. POTUS just came out and said that right now he's been thinking about having a quarantine on New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, but he's thinking right now that that's not going to be necessary, that the CDC is going to issue a travel advisory, but upon the recommendation of the White House Corona Task Force and after consultation with the governor of New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut, I've asked the CDC to issue a strong travel advisory to be administered by the governors in consultation with the federal government. Quarantine will not be necessary. Full details will be released by the CDC tonight. Thank you, President Trump wrote. He said that he was considering it, but did not feel at this point, unless something else developed, that they would require that. So again, just like all the naysayers that were going, oh, martial law's coming. Oh, all this stuff. He's trying not to do that. I see a president trying not to have to take away freedoms, but rather to just ask people to cooperate, just like he did when he signed the what is the act? Where they have to Defense Act. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. The one that requires them to stop doing what they're doing in
where the federal government can essentially take over a business.
Privatize
manufacturing business.
I'm sorry, not privatize. I can't even talk tonight. I'm just so excited. President Trump again is saying, guys, you don't have to put your foot on everybody's neck to get them to do something. We are supposed to be motivated by a higher calling of patriotism in our country. Most people respond well when you ask them nicely, when you make them aware of a need. But yet the left-wing libnuts and the mainstream media would like nothing more for our freedoms to be taken away from us, because that's the way they deal with things. So you better think about that before you cast your vote next time. Do you want somebody that wants to put their foot on your neck, or somebody that wants you to live your life with common sense, and just use your common sense?
That's right. Let's keep this going, Tucker here.
So during the course of that segment, by the way, CNN never mentioned that the man ate aquarium cleaner and not medicine. They lied about the substantial, in fact, the central facts of what happened because they thought it might advance a political agenda. Then they informed viewers that Trump was also killing people in Nigeria.
John, after President Trump touted the use of chloroquine as a possible treatment for
He didn't say chloroquine.
3 Nigerians have overdosed from that drug, according to Nigerian health officials.
Now, keep in mind, this isn't a tax bill they're lying about. It's a potentially life-saving medicine that we are desperately trying to evaluate in the middle of a global pandemic. And it's not just CNN that's doing it. Consider this Bloomberg News story from last night. Quote, chloroquine no better than regular coronavirus care, study finds. That was the headline. And it sounds definitive. Why are we wasting our time with this crap? It doesn't work. But take a look at the details inside the piece. The story turns out to be based on an article in the Journal of Zhejiang University in China. The Chinese study in the article considered a total of just 15 patients, 15, who've been given chloroquine. It seems like an awfully small sample for a legitimate study. And in fact, the story does concede that it was. Quote, the results of the study weren't statistically significant. Researchers concluded that additional studies using larger numbers of patients are needed. In other words, the story doesn't really tell us anything. So why is Bloomberg News writing about it? Later in the story, we learn that in contrast to the protocol in that tiny Chinese study, doctors here in the West are administering hydrochloroquine with antibiotics. And that combination, the two of them, hydroxychloroquine and antibiotics, appears to be effective. And that raises the same question once again.
Kimmy Dow,
what
where
exactly
you
is
been?
the point of Bloomberg's so-called news story? The way the Chinese used the drug had nothing to do with the way we are using it here. The study is irrelevant. Writing about it doesn't illuminate anything. It misleads. That's the point. They're manipulating you. This is what happens when science becomes political. Suddenly people start lying and you can't trust anything you hear. That's a very dangerous thing to do at a moment like this. The truth is essential. Just yesterday, the governor of Nevada, Steve Sisolak, issued an emergency order that banned doctors in his state from prescribing hydroxychloroquine as a treatment for coronavirus unless it's administered in a hospital setting. Now, Sisolak is a politician. He's not a doctor, but he didn't hesitate to pronounce the drug, quote, unproven as a treatment for coronavirus. Well, that's true as a technical matter, but doctors prescribe medicines in new ways all the time. It's called off-label usage. It's legal and very common in places where Democratic governors don't decide to micromanage the details of medical care. So why did Sisolak do this? His statement suggested that hydroxychloroquine was somehow a threat to public health, but the real reason was likely the opposite of that. The governor was afraid of running out of it. Pharmacists across the country have reported a large increase in requests for the drug. Some of the requests have come from doctors who appear to be stockpiling it for themselves and for their families. This resulted in shortages. That is a problem, and it's a problem for a number of reasons, including because the drug is also used to treat chronic diseases like lupus and rheumatoid arthritis. But there's one thing that it does prove conclusively. Donald Trump is not the only person who thinks hydroxychloroquine might be effective. A lot of practicing physicians think so too. Our leaders should be clear about that. And yet many of them are lying about it at a time when we are desperate for the truth. The thing we need above all is the truth.
That's right. I imagine Z-Packs are going out like crazy too. They're probably running out of that as well. But
remember, in one thing, I remember we had discussed a couple of weeks ago, the reason that these drugs, even the others that he named off, they believe are being successful in the treatment is because it basically is your respiratory system going into overdrive with the reaction. So, like with rheumatoid arthritis and that kind of thing, it keeps your body from turning on itself. It basically controls the inflammation so that you don't get into as quite a severe. Then with the combined with the Z-Pack, the people have all been, all of the studies that I have seen so far have been very successful with many of them, as we had discussed before, being cured, which usually you treat a virus. So that's the major distinction. So I'm just telling you, like I have for the last couple of weeks, I think that President Trump has seen this coming and known and seen the results from the rest of the world, and has known that, this, amongst many other things, is going to be our silver bullet. So, yay, thank you, President Trump, for persisting. Thank you.
Thanks for the follow, JL Rick 10.
I would be leaving the state of any governor that would put their own political greed before my life. I'm just saying, either vote them out or move after this is over with.
Fox News, Alabama man serenades wife with Alzheimer's through window amid coronavirus nursing home restrictions.
The best of America along with the worst of America.
I know,
is sweet.
I know I can't play it because it's Fox News. For some reason, they never play.
It didn't?
No, it won't play. We ran into this every last week. Fox News videos just won't play.
They do that just to mess with you, probably because Paul Ryan's on the board. Well, he goes and serenades her, and y'all, it was so sweet because, there's so many wonderful stories. If you let mainstream media convince you everything is black, everything is negative, everything is hopeless, because that's what they want you to believe. But this shows you that America rises to the occasion every time. We never leave our weakest people behind. We always take care of those who can't take care of themselves. I don't care if you're taking care of a greenie or a pawpaw, or if you are, making mess. I don't care how you're contributing. Everybody can do something nice. That's the America that we've always known, not the mean, cold-hearted, racist, misogynist, ugly nation they see. Those are the kind of people that always see the glass half empty, not half full. Let's show them. Let's be a shining light. Keep busy. Be productive while you're off. Don't let them, control your emotions. Stay motivated, because we're winning, guys. They just don't want you to know it. So don't let them win.
Fox News Channel, some McDonald's in Florida to give hospital workers free meals amidst coronavirus pandemic. I know the video is not going to play, but
isn't that nice?
We are so honored to be able to serve hardworking hospital workers like Shavona a free meal. If you work in the healthcare industry, simply show us your valid ID. We'll give you a free combo meal. But that's corporate America. They're just evil bastards.
Yeah.
That's what the people don't work for corporate America. No humans work there. It's just a building. That's all it is. Corporate America. Nobody works there.
They're not made up of human beings like you and
Louis. One question was raised about how we teach our young people, and I'm a former Marine, and I became aware that there are two verses, and we need to hear the second verse, which says, "Oh, thus be it ever, when free men shall stand between their loved homes and the war's desolation, blessed with victory and peace, may the heaven rescued land praise the power that has made and preserved us a nation. Then conquer we must when our cause it is just.
I remember that
We aren't
from
going to let them whip us. We aren't going to cave. We aren't let them rule.
I remember that from the Tea
Take
Party.
that.
That was a while ago. That video.
I love it. It says what we need because we're going to be victorious.
We're going to try
We have some talented people in our armed forces, don't we?
Oh, I'm going to skip some of this stuff. I'm going to try to get some. Tigress. Oh, hold on. Tigress sent a breaking news.
Hey,
I think Doc.
So I've noticed that you've been wearing them same.
Oop, that wasn't for this one. I'll have to save that. Breaking update. President Trump says he will not order a federal quarantine for New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. I think Doc brought that up earlier, but she might have come in late. Instead, issue a travel warning. Advisory.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
We'll save that for later.
Thank you for letting us know, darling.
Oh, Greg Abbott, talking about Abbott Pharmaceutical, I think it is. U.S. approves Abbott Labs 5-minute rapid coronavirus test. Now ID.
5 minutes.
The ID Now COVID-19 test will be available next week with the ability to deliver 50,000 tests per day. Let's see. Let's go on. I'm trying to get through some of these quick, Doc.
I know it's so hard. We had so much winning actually this week, guys. And if you didn't catch it, remember POTUS effectively became the head of the Federal Reserve yesterday. So that was great news.
This is just going to play a few minutes of this, or a minute. This is the USS Mercy heading out. I'm presuming to New York Harbor, right? Is that where it's headed?
Yes. Wait, no, Mercy was going to California, Gavin Newsom. Comfort's going to New York, and it'll be there by Monday. They'll be seeing people by Tuesday. Their hope is to treat well people on the ship, allowing the hospitals to treat the virus patients. So if you've got cancer, you've had a heart attack, something of that nature, then they're hoping to do that if necessary. But as we have talked, on several occasions, there may be a little bit more to that than what meets the eye. We're going to be just waiting, watching, and seeing. So good for them to be there.
We got 4 more minutes. I'm trying to find Oh, you brought this up. You stepped on that story. Lisa Mae Crowley, it's Friday. POTUS just took over the Fed, signed a bill that'll help many people who are temporary. I got allergies going on here, so I can't talk because my mouth is so dry.
I don't know. I've been drinking all the time. I have huge trees out front, and my whole house is covered in pollen. So might need some of the elderberry wine for medicinal purposes,
And can blow off Congress if he wants to move funds. The storm is here. Massive milestone. Yeah, this is a big deal that kind of merged the Fed and the Treasury. Help wanted, Fox News, help wanted amid coronavirus pandemic. I've heard this. They're hiring. Walmart is hiring. There's 7-Eleven is hiring. Albertsons.
Walmart.
Amazon is hiring 100,000 people.
100,000.
CVS is looking for 50,000. Dollar General is looking for 50,000. And I know our Dollar General up here, they have a limited staff because it's way out in the country. They were decimated. They're trying to catch back up. Today was Saturday. Usually the store's busy, but everybody bought everything. So they're in there trying to restock shelves, and there's nobody in the store. So it's not like everybody's going crazy to buy everything still. But there's 3 girls that work there, and it looks like a bomb went off in there. I feel bad for them.
Phil, Larry said to be sure and check your Twitter DM when you get a chance. Hey, big kind of man, glad you came, doll.
Domino's hiring. General Electric Healthcare is hiring. I mean,
So, guys, the point I was trying to point out there with that article is if you are one of the people that has lost your job or you're not going to have a job for a little while, and like Amazon, FedEx, people like that are saying that they will hire you, not have to go through. We covered this last week. Walmart won't even make you go through their normal 2-week process. It's a 1-day thing now. But they will hire you until you get hired back at your old job. Or if you're lucky, maybe it will work into a full-time job ongoing. So if you're in need, this is not necessarily, the be-all and end-all. There are people out there that are going to be hiring. And think about it. Zoom is probably going to need programmers and stuff like that. All these tech companies, because everything's been going online. So all of them are going to be hiring. All that doesn't just happen. So if you need a job, get out there. There's hope. I just wanted to make sure you knew.
I've never heard of Instacart.
All out in the newspaper.
I've never heard of Instacart, but they're hiring 300,000. I mean,
who?
Instacart is hiring 300,000.
Oh yeah.
Lowe's is hiring 30,000. Kroger's looking for 10,000. Papa John's 20,000. Pepsi 6,000. Pizza Hut 30,000.
I think Domino's was even hiring.
Save a Lot. I've heard that's a store is looking to hire people. 17,000
so there's
for
hope.
sheets.
If you need a job, there's hope out there. Go start looking because
5,000
They'll hire you on
there.
a temporary basis.
Valet Living 10,000, Walgreens 9,500, Walmart 150,000. So they're hiring all across America.
You know, another thing that I did want to point out that I heard, I think being discussed today, I think it was on Patriot Soapbox, but if you notice also, POTUS had a very interesting remark to a reporter, yes, I believe it was yesterday's briefing, and he was talking about the fact that all of these huge corporations, Ford and all of them are going to be making 3M, and all of them are making ventilators. My Pillow Man is making face masks and all that kind of thing. And that's the smart thing to do, is to get these companies making the things that are going to be needed around the world. Because even when we whip it here, these companies will have something they can sell to the rest of the world. It's called being adaptive to the market. President Trump doesn't ever stop in his tracks, just like we talked about last week. He doesn't ever take no for an answer. That's what really makes him so successful, is that when somebody says no to him, he just finds a way around them. And he does the same thing with this. He is finding these company jobs for the next foreseeable future. So roll with it. If you're looking for a job, get up there and start working these companies. But know that our wonderful president is encouraging companies to pick up lines that will keep them busy and that will keep you employed. So again, he wins. He's always 10 steps ahead of everybody else.
Okay, guys, we're out of here. We'll see you at Speakeasy.
Catch on the flip side.
Yep.
Go refill your libations, get you your favorite snacks, because we got some great patriots that are going to cuss and discuss who knows what. It may not even be politics or corona related. It might be just something inane, especially if that Whistle Britches Earth Citizen joins us. So everybody, come on in.
Hey, be right back.
Oh my goodness! Really? You got your picture on! Oh, that's a beautiful picture. Oh, darn! I thought you were looking at your beautiful side. Why didn't you use that picture? It's beautiful. Okay, I'll use it. I love it. It's more beautiful. I'll use it. All right. I'll use it. That's the real you.
That is a beautiful you. Hi, Rusty. I am so glad you came, Sandra.
Hello.
Sandra! I have been missing you, Pepper Sniffle.
Hey, Phil.
He's going to the bathroom. Okay, guys, I'll be back. I got to go to the ladies' room and refresh my lips. You know.
Okay. Sandra, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You're beautiful. Feeling good? Yeah, I'm feeling good. Feeling good. I can't complain. Good. I'm happy with it. Yeah, we're good. Right. Well, what's happening? Oh, we're still live.
How do we do that, Mr. Sixth Grade graduate? Remember what William Jennings Bryan said? Fight hard, fight clean. You ain't fighting clean, Grant. Of course I am. William Jennings Bryan was a loser. Hot dog.
Yeah, baby.
This has been a Film Waste presentation.